said she's making this movie, The Sensei, and she would love me to look at the role of Mark Corey, and I said sure. I read the script, and I read it in one sweep, which is rare for me. I'm a slow reader, and just fell in love with the project and got behind it. I support it 100%. I told Diana if I can give the performance in conjunction to how I read it, we'll be in good shape, because whilst I was reading the script, it just tore me up. It's a humane story. It's a story of ignorance, of humanity. It's a story of pride and love and dealing, I guess, with the realities of our society. And it really touched a nerve, and everyone else I've told to read the script has felt the same way as well. It's very powerful, it's very real, and it's a wonderful indie. You know, you do these action movies and such, and you can only go so deep with a lot of projects because it's about something else, you know, it's about that with a little action. But this is a humane story.
It is said that there is a lesson to be learned for every person you meet in one's lifetime, whether it be friend or whether it be foe.
How did you learn to move like that? He must be great.
It's a she, actually.
She? How did that happen?
She's my sensei.
You know what, McClain Evans? Glad I saw him getting beat up. Did you guys see that?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I thought so.
Let's just say women in my family are expected to know their place.
Where is your family honor?
Like a father who loves his child, he will punish that child that does not abide by his word.
I want you to teach my son. Listen, nobody has to know. You're training my son. Nobody.
You have the right to defend yourself against hatred and self-hatred.
Oh my gosh!
You'll see when you watch the movie, we tried to lean towards more the realistic of what could happen versus like fantasy martial art fight scenes. I tried to put together scenes that you could sit there and digest and say, well, you know, maybe somebody could pull this off on the street. Some of the other fight scenes that we got to do and some of the other people, there's Mark McGraw.
That's what I'm looking for.
Lewis Mandylor, Oscar Bravo. When you see him, the Lewis character, the fights, I felt so bad for Lewis. He was in that ring for about 14 hours. It was so long and arduous on him, but I mean, when you see it, you'll see it comes through.
Sensei is a movie that deals with the nature of prejudice, whether this would be through sexism, through racism, as in the scene with Keith David at the very beginning of the movie, or through discrimination against gays, as we see through the embodiment of McClain Evans. When I wrote The Sensei, I wanted to address these issues. And this character, McClain Evans, was a character that I actually modeled after Matthew Shepard. And if you remember the Matthew Shepard case, Matthew Shepard was a young gay man that was murdered in Laramie, Wyoming. And I never forgot that incident because around that same time my own cousin had revealed that she was gay. And it was a real awakening for me because I never quite understood the kind of harassment that gays and lesbians and even their own families may go through. Basically, The Sensei is a paradox. It deals with a time when everybody thought that AIDS was a gay disease. But in the movie, we see that really we have a gay character who doesn't have AIDS, and we have straight characters that do.
I think there's something for every single person in this movie, but I really hope that the music, most of all, helps communicate that that people are people, and we're all in this together, and there's just no time and no place for intolerance, you know, in this world.
It's drastic for the country.
People need to see the genesis of how far we've come, and also how we need to, this is not over. This fight is not over. And I think, you know, by doing this film, you know, it kind of gives the audience an opportunity to bring it back to the forefront and say, hey, you know, we still got a lot of work to do.
I would hope that the audience walks away with a better understanding, number one, of what it is to be a victim of hatred, to be a victim of prejudice. I would also hope that the audiences would be inspired to take action when they see any kind of form of discrimination or assault, and learn to make a stand. And the other thing you hope is that people are led more down a path of compassion and acceptance.
Life is a series of lessons where we are student and teacher for one another.
This film is the synchronicity of people that came aboard on this project. Everyone came out of their own goodwill because they believed in the humanitarian message of this film. People both behind the scenes and in front of the camera. I think in my experience as a director on this film, I got to see the best.
People read the script and they saw the message of the film and they said, hey, you know what, there's a need for this kind of film. And when I have somebody say thank you for making this film because you know what, I think you're going to save lives, or you're representing my child that used to be bullied, you know, it really makes me realize that there was a higher reason for all of this.
And then I saw the film, and I was like, wow, I'm so proud of you that you're a part of such an amazing piece of art and work. And I have these people to be so gracious to make movies, to make films like this that'll change the world. And it's an honor to be here today.